concept of God as a corporeal being transcending the constraints of linear time challenges conventional understandings of temporality. In the natural universe, time is measured by motion, such as the movement of celestial bodies or the ticking of a clock. However, God's existence and operations are not confined to this linear progression of moments. Instead, he functions in a realm beyond physical time, where his will and purposes unfold through what can be termed spiritual motion. At the heart of this interaction is the Logos, the mind of Theos. El. The Logos is not merely a spoken word, but the very thoughts, intentions, and active reason of God, serving as the medium of divine communication and activity. Spiritual motion and the role of the Logos. Spiritual motion offers a framework for understanding how God interacts with his creation beyond physical limitations. Unlike physical motion, involving matter moving through space, spiritual motion represents the dynamic activity of God's will, energy, and purpose, emanated through the Logos. This concept bridges the gap between God's timeless nature and his tangible involvement in the natural universe. 1. Spiritual motion as intentional activity. Spiritual motion can be understood as the deliberate emanation of divine will. When God creates, speaks, or intervenes, it occurs through the Logos, his active reason. For example, in Genesis 1 verse 2, the Ruach, Spirit of God, moved upon the face of the waters, demonstrating his active presence in shaping the cosmos. This spiritual motion, mediated by the Logos, underscores God's purposeful and effectual activity, occurring outside the limitations of time and space. 2. The Logos as active reason. The Logos is not merely the spoken word or an utterance. It embodies the mind of Theos, the thoughts and intentions behind his words. It is the instrument of divine reason, shaping and manifesting God's will. This understanding aligns with John 1:1, where the Logos is depicted as being with God and as God's active presence in creation. Through the Logos, spiritual motion becomes the means by which God's thoughts are conveyed telepathically, instantaneously reaching all of creation without delay or distortion. 3. Eternal present. From God's perspective, time is an eternal present where all his actions and knowledge are complete and simultaneous. In this context, spiritual motion reflects the ongoing emanation of his nature, love, wisdom, and power, through the Logos. This constant outflow is not subject to progression or change, but is the unceasing manifestation of divine essence. 4. Telepathic motion and universal presence. Spiritual motion, mediated by the Logos, enables telepathic communication between God and his creation. Psalm 33, verse 9 illustrates this immediacy. For he spoke, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. The Logos conveys divine thoughts and intentions instantly across the universe, demonstrating that God's will is not confined by physical or temporal barriers. This telepathic motion reflects the universal and timeless presence of the Logos as the medium of God's active reason. 5. Motion within the pleroma. In the spiritual realm, or pleroma, spiritual motion involves the harmonious interactions and emanations of divine attributes through the Logos. This motion sustains both the natural universe and spiritual reality, reflecting the corporeal nature of Theos as the source of all existence. The Logos ensures the unbroken flow of divine energy and wisdom, orchestrating creation according to God's eternal purpose. Aeon and the unfolding of divine will. Isaiah 57:15 describes God as inhabiting eternity, olam in Hebrew, or Aeon in Greek, a term that transcends mere time to signify the fullness of divine presence. God's Aeon represents his timeless plan of redemption, revealed through the Logos. Hebrews 11:3 affirms that the ages, aeons, were prepared by God's spoken word, indicating that these aeons emanate from his corporeal substance and reflect the structured manifestation of his will. Although these aeons have beginnings and endings, they are contingent upon God's eternal thought, expressed through the Logos. They bridge the temporal framework of creation with God's timeless nature, unfolding his purpose in an orderly and intentional manner. As such, the aeons represent the intersection of God's transcendent will and the natural universe. Timelessness of divine thought. God's thought, synonymous with his will, transcends the limitations of time and space. It is universal, timeless, and instantly manifest throughout his creation via the Logos. As the active reason of God, the Logos ensures that divine thought unfolds in perfect harmony with his eternal purpose. This timeless motion not only sustains creation, but also reveals God's sovereignty and presence across all dimensions of existence. Conclusion. Spiritual motion, mediated by the Logos, provides a profound understanding of how God interacts with creation beyond the constraints of physical time. The Logos, as the mind of Theos, represents the divine thoughts and intentions that shape and sustain the universe. Through the timeless and universal nature of spiritual motion, God's will is manifest instantaneously, demonstrating his boundless power and presence. By understanding time in relation to spiritual motion and the Logos, we glimpse a timeless dimension where God's corporeal nature harmonizes with his transcendent will, revealing the unity of his purpose and the depth of his divine essence.